Before the world had names for the things crawling, before Uranus was forcibly separated from Gaia, there was Pallas. He was a titan, but not of stone or deep water. Pallas was a creature of becoming. His power was a hunger that had no stomach, an endless writhing of assimilative evolution. If a thing lived, Pallas could touch it, take it, and become it. He could survive the freezing void, the crushing weight of the core, or the fire of a dying star simply by rewriting his own flesh to match whatever managed to endure it. For ages he walked the wild, shifting crust of the earth. He found things that dragged themselves on all fours, beasts with heavy spines and matted fur, human-like things that scurried in the mud, half-formed and brutal. Pallas looked upon the quadrupedal women of the early tribes of Prometheus's kiln, creatures bowed low to the dirt, and felt only a cold, experimental disgust. They were too close to the beasts. In his mind they were dead ends in the grand architecture of flesh. Then came the change. The earth cooled slightly, the forest thinned, and the first true bipedal human women walked tall beneath the unmapped stars. Their spines straightened. Their gaze met the horizon instead of the dust. Pallas watched them, and his immortal blood hummed. Here was an upgrade. Here was a shape built for elevation, for vision, for strategy. He took them, one by one, across the long, slow centuries. His method was intimacy. Through the fierce, breathless heat of intimacy, Pallas enacted his assimilative traits. He did not devour their physical bodies. Instead, he absorbed their blueprint. He absorbed their genetic information, their biological memory, the subtle architecture of their upright stance, and the sharp, calculating intelligence hidden behind their eyes. With every woman he lay with, Pallas shifted. His titanic, chaotic form refined itself. The brute, raw bulk of the old Titan began to thin, replaced by a terrifyingly efficient, balanced symmetry. He was collecting data, storing generations of bipedal grace, tactical survival and feminine cunning deep within the dense, immortal folds of his brain. Millennia passed in a blur of flesh and adaptation, until finally Pallas hit the absolute ceiling of evolution. His mind was no longer just a mind, it was a hyper-dense archive of every trait, every memory, and every evolutionary leap he had ever harvested. The pressure inside his skull became catastrophic. His immortal cells screamed against the sheer density of perfection he had crammed into a single skull. On a quiet night beneath a silent sky, Pallas fell to his knees in the dust. His massive body convulsed, not in pain, but in labour. Crack. The sound echoed across the primordial world like a splitting glacier. Pallas's skull fractured wide open, bones splintering outward in a burst of blinding, iridescent light. From the split in his head she stepped out. She was not a monster. She was the absolute peak of everything Pallas had ever gathered. Fully formed, armoured in the glittering data of 1,000 lifetimes, and carrying a gaze that could pierce the fabric of fate, Athena stood over him, under him, within him. She was strategy, wisdom, and war incarnate, born not of a king's whim, but of a titan's genetic overflow. Pallas, kneeling and bleeding light from his shattered crown, he pulled the excess back into himself, swallowing the raw debris of his own creation to seal his broken skull, and instantly healed. As Athena took her first independent breath and looked up with his newly altered eyes, she walked away into the dawn, the brilliant living proof of what happens when a titan dares to evolve.